A bill seeking to license the operation and practice of private investigators in Nigeria has been shut down on the floor of the Senate. The sponsor of the bill, Senator Osita Ngu, was advised to step down the bill after some senators described the proposed bill as a recipe for disaster. Correspondent Kulujo sent in this report.
The decision to suspend consideration of the bill was sequel to a deliberation which lasted for over an hour during Wednesday's plenary. Senator Ungo took time to highlight some provisions of the bills. He said the legislation seeks to provide a framework for the licensing and practice of private investigators in Nigeria. The bill also seeks to provide for a system of regulation, control and conduct of the practice so as to ensure professional standards.
Regulated access, use and brokerage of confidential information may result in serious socio-economic and even political consequences. A legislative framework will provide much-needed clarity and consistency in regulation of the information gathering practices of private investigators.
While Senators Victor Ume, Larry Oyewumi and Senator Mohammed Mungono spoke in support of the bill, Senator Adams Oshomole, Aminu Abbas and Saliu Mustafa said the idea of spying into the private lives of Nigerians is something that is in bad state.
That this bill, for all intents and purposes, is desirable. We should be able to support it and pass it. The licensing of these people should be able to regulate the conduct of people so licensed. It's not for witch hunting or somebody going to investigate anybody at his whims and caprices. The court can make use of the evidence produced by a private investigator.
The effort of this private investigator is very complementary in many dimensions, and this will assist our businessmen in the area mentioned by the mover in terms of fraud prevention, insurance fraud, aviation, and many more. Even in bank charges, we have employed so many of them. But since the bill is just trying to regulate the activities of these private investigators, I think it's a right step in the right direction.
I think that it would be risky to license anyone to have the right to approach any one of us and ask certain questions because the law has empowered him so to do. It will just be a license for extortion, a license for blackmail, an unnecessary rivalry, and it will not be controllable.
I'm against the bill because if you are asking people to go and be licensed, I presently practice private investigation in this country. I investigated a lot of people in this country as a forensic accountant. I cannot go for under another regulatory agency for me to be licensed to practice. I give evidence in court, and lawyers can investigate and give evidence in court. So we don't need to put people to go into another round of requirement to go and be licensed before they practice.
After a heated deliberation, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, advised the sponsor of the bill to step down the bill and consult further with the senators who have raised concerns about the bill.
A country where we have numerous wives, and then any of the wives can approach a private investigator, and they will bring very false evidence against you, and at the end of the day, you end up being scandalized. Social media will take that report as if the report is true. But however, I want to urge a view of the divergent of views and the concerns raised by your colleagues. Do you want to reject this and then represent it so that we just step it down?
Working on this bill, the issue you raised now was one of my major concerns. Somebody said that several men will not be very comfortable with it because it will impinge on their freedom of going to the other way. So, Mr. President, well, let me go back and rework it and also consult more of my colleagues.
Meanwhile, a bill seeking to establish a Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Irapiji, Osun State, passed second reading on the floor of the Senate. The bill, which was introduced for the first time on Wednesday, equally passed second reading without much debate. Sponsored by the leader of the Senate, Opeyemi Bamidele, The bill was given accelerated passage and sent to the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education and Trust Fund to report back in 3 weeks.
One noticeable feature in the development of universities in Nigeria is the emergence of specialized universities. Most of these focus on science and technology, hence the need to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Iragbiji, Osun State, to increase the number of agricultural universities. This will help the back-to-land policy of the federal government to ensure the diversification of our national economy.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Iragbiji, Osun State, and make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters 2024 SB 569. Second reading taken.
The bill, if passed into law and assented to by the President, Osun State will be having 3 federal universities, first of 8 in the country.